Alright, so today we're going to figure out how to do the homework assignment, appendix factor analysis via R. So first, what you want to do is you want to open the Word document and it tells you how to download R. So it says we want to go to this hyperlink. So it's showing up weird in Word for some reason, but that's okay. Okay, so let's go there, and it takes you to here. And so then you want to click the, oh wait, first it, okay, so it's going to go to this screen. And there are several options. If you have a Mac, obviously you want to download it for Mac. I have a Windows, so that's what I'll be doing. We'll want to just do base because otherwise things can make it confusing. And then we want to click on download R 3.63 for Windows. Okay, so now we have R open, and what we'll want to do is in Learning Suite there is the factor analysis homework in R, so you'll want to download that. I already have. And then in File you want to open OpenScript, and mine is in my downloads, and so I'll just click on this and open it. And conveniently, everything we need is right here. So all we need to do is select everything, and then we click the Run Line or Selection button, and it conveniently does all of the things that that it tells you to do in the assignment. Let's talk about some of the things that we have. So basically the blue stuff is the stuff that R does in response to the commands, and the red stuff is the part of the code. So the most important stuff is the blue stuff. Here's our correlation matrix that we need for number 1. As you can see, it's pretty simple. There's a 1-to-1 correlation for each variable because they are perfectly correlated with themselves, and then you can see the correlation with each variable as we saw with the correlation matrix in I think it was 1.3 and 1.4. And then this is the eigenvalues for number 2 and number 3, and this is the actual list of eigenvalues. So when it asks you for those, it'll be some or all of them depending on the question that you're answering. This is the factor loadings for number 5 and number 8. Okay, so this is the factor loading. This is factor 1, factor 2, factor 3, factor 4, and factor 5. And so number 5 says factor 1 accounts for almost half of the variance in this factor analysis of the 5 variables, so we will take a closer look at it. Which variable has the lowest correlation with factor 1? Write the correlation and the label of the variable. So if we go back to R and we look at it, this is factor 1, so we want to see which variable has the lowest correlation, so it'll be the lowest number. So then the next question is do another factor analysis in which you remove the variable you identified in question number 5. You'll want to list out the 4 variables you're still using. So we don't get another matrix, it looks like, but it'll be, so yeah, so you can see that factor 1's variance is in fact almost 50% of it. And then in the 4 variable model, it accounts for almost 60% of it. And so then it asks whether the value increased or decreased compared to the 5 variable model, and if the proportion of variance accounted for by factor 1 increased or decreased compared to the 5-variable model. And then, so yeah, it just continues to ask you more questions about that. For number 8, this one is probably the hardest question, and it uses the most thinking. But basically what it's asking is for you to give factor one a name that gives it an interpretation, and then also use your answers to the previous questions up here, and also the descriptions of the items, so those are here, to then describe what factor 1 can tell us about our survey and how knowing information about some of the variables can be useful now that we know 4 variables correlate mainly with factor 1. So basically we're trying to figure out what factor 1 is. Every factor is considered a latent variable, which is like a variable that can't be directly looked at, but because of the way that we looked at other variables, that one comes out. An example of some of those are like quality of life. You can't like ask people directly about their quality of life, but you can infer based off of other things what their quality of life is. Similarly, there's a latent variable here that factor 1 represents, and it represents a lot of the variation here. So anyway, hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Yeah, talk to you guys later.